The latest news from around the country now. It's Wales at 6 with Jonathan Hill.
On tonight's programme, the Welsh Secretary hits back at claims that the Caerphilly by-election shows Labour has abandoned Wales.
I'm not sure whether the honourable member has ever been to Caerphilly or even to Wales.
Also on the programme, Louise lost her mother to pancreatic cancer. Now she's hoping a revolutionary new test could spare others the pain of losing a loved one. Plus, how thieves are risking their lives and causing chaos on our railways.
And join me on my throne as we celebrate the ultimate ITV fire sale as Grieg Castle sells off some of the props from I'm a Celebrity, or as I like to think of it, I'm a celebrity.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the programme. The Welsh Secretary has hit back at claims that last week's Caerphilly by-election shows that Labour has abandoned Wales. Joe Stevens faced criticism from opposition members in the first question session since the dramatic result which saw Plaid Cymru take a Senedd seat that Labour has always held. Well, our political editor, Adrian Masters, is outside the Wales office in central Cardiff. Evening, Adrian. Striking words after a striking election result.
John, it's no wonder that such a significant by-election would be making waves for the Welsh Secretary. She's normally based here at this office when she's in Cardiff, but was facing questions and criticism at the other end of the M4 in Westminster. It was the by-election that nobody wanted, caused by the sudden death of the Senedd member Hefin David, and it culminated in an historic win for Plaid Cymru. It's been less than a week since Plaid Cymru's Lindsay Whittle won Caerphilly, a seat that's been Labour for decades.
Yesterday, the people of Caerphilly created their own history.
That history is being felt not just in the Senedd where he'll be a member, but also 150 miles away in a different parliament.
The results, Mr Speaker, show that people in Wales seek real change. So in her capacity as the Secretary of State of the Wales Office, what measures is she taking to press the Labour Chancellor to include measures that benefit Wales in the autumn budget?
I want to congratulate Lindsay Whittle on his victory on becoming a Senedd member, and I'm sure he will work very hard for his Caerphilly constituency for the next 6 months. As she will know, I'm not going to comment on discussions between myself and the Chancellor.
But that answer didn't satisfy either Welsh opposition MPs nor this Scottish one.
Because the people of Wales feel abandoned by Labour over the last 5 decades.
I'm not sure whether the honourable member has ever been to Caerphilly or even to Wales, but if he has, that's good. If he hasn't, he needs to be careful about what he's saying about the people in Wales. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Someone who was talked about a lot wasn't even a member of this parliament. The most poignant tribute to the late Hefin David came from the MP for Caerphilly, who called him
my friend and colleague. I will say this, he was an amazing representative for Wales and a real warrior for those who found themselves neurodivergent or on the margins of society.
Tributes from one parliament to another, and recognition that at the other end of the M4, in the early hours of last Friday morning in Caerphilly, something changed in Welsh politics that may lead to bigger change. So for Labour MPs in the UK Parliament in Westminster and the Secretary of State, who's often based here in Cardiff, and for the Prime Minister Keir Starmer, all of this is causing a headache and raising questions about the future for Labour. Here in Wales too, just down the road in the Senedd, there is an immediate impact because the loss of the vote that Caerphilly represented in the Senedd chamber means that Eluned Morgan will struggle to pass her budget. That's a drama yet to unfold. And there is the question of what all this might tell us about the Senedd election next May. If Labour does as badly then as it did last week, then we could be in wipeout territory for that, which would be historic. If Plaid Cymru does as well as it did, then that would be historic. If Reform UK do as well as they did, that would be historic. John, we've got 6 months of this history to go.
OK, Adrian, thank you very much indeed. A teenager has appeared before Mole Crown Court charged with murdering his mother. 18-year-old Tristan Thomas Roberts of Coniston Drive has been charged with the murder of 45-year-old Angela Shellis, who was found dead in Prestatyn last Friday. No plea was entered and a psychiatric report will be prepared ahead of a further hearing in December. Next tonight, it's hoped a revolutionary new test for pancreatic cancer could turn the tide on survival rates for the disease. 1 in every 5 with a diagnosis in Wales will die. People like Louise Dale's mother, who died just months after she was diagnosed. Louise, who lives near Wrexham, says she hopes the test will spare thousands of other families the pain she has experienced. Our correspondent Carol Green has the story.
Looking back at family memories, Louise lost her mum Carol to pancreatic cancer in just 12 weeks from being diagnosed.
My mum had been suffering with IBS symptoms for probably a couple of years, but they seemed to really ramp up over sort of 12 months. She'd had an endoscopy which showed nothing, and she had an ultrasound, and the next day they rang her and said that they were concerned that she might have a cyst on her pancreas. We went upstairs, had the CT scan, came back down, and he called us in straight away and told us that Mum had pancreatic cancer, and there was literally nothing that could be done. As a family, having to watch someone you love so much suffer and then just watch them die was just the most traumatic thing I've ever been through, and I'll never forget it.
Now a new breath test could revolutionise care and save lives. In Wales, 21% of patients don't survive just 30 days after diagnosis.
But what is a breath test and how does it work? A patient would breathe into a bag and a sample of their breath would be collected and sent off to a lab to check for chemicals linked to pancreatic cancer.
It's one of the deadliest cancer, and more than half of people die within 3 months of a diagnosis. So it's very fast, and so this test will mean that we will be able to get in early, diagnose people early, and they will be able to have potentially curative treatment in the long term.
We did manage to get Mum away 2 weeks before she died on a family weekend away in an amazing setting that overlooked the Menai Bridge, and we were all together as a family.
Time is precious, and this new breath test offers hope.
It's that early detection where people can get treatment early, which is going to save lives. So, you know, that would have the biggest impact on survival rates, because at the moment, pancreatic cancer is the deadliest common cancer, and people can die so quickly.
It's hoped this non-invasive test could transform survival rates in the years ahead. Carol Green, ITV News, Wrexham.
And our health reporter Katie Fenton is with me now. A terrible, terrible disease. How significant could this test be?
Well, the people, John, behind it say it's the biggest step towards a life-saving breakthrough in half a century. And any cancer breakthrough is, of course, something to be celebrated, but especially so when it comes to pancreatic cancer, because as we heard in Carol's report there, it is notoriously hard to spot before it becomes too late. The symptoms are vague. They can be things like digestive issues and back pain, which lots of people end up putting down to less serious health issues. And in Wales, it does end up killing more than 500 people every year. So this breath test looks for specific chemical compounds in the body and can produce results in just 3 days. Now, it is currently just a trial and will be tested on 6,000 patients across Wales, England and Scotland, but there has already been a smaller study of around 700 patients which showed promising results. And if it's found to be effective, it's hoped the test could be rolled out in GP surgeries within 5 years. And the Welsh Government has today said that it's looking forward to hearing more about its effectiveness. So still some time before it could become the norm, but a real glimmer of hope today in tackling what is an incredibly deadly disease.
Katie Fenton, thanks for that update. Now, Wales' rail network has seen millions of pounds worth of damage and significant disruption due to a rise in thefts of overhead cables. In the last month alone, thieves stole 150 metres from one of the South Wales Valley lines in an overnight operation. Mike Griffiths has had exclusive access with patrol teams as they ramp up efforts to tackle the problem.
Mile upon mile of cabling and masts to power trains by electricity. The result of years of work to build the South Wales Metro. But investment for passengers means opportunity for thieves. This, near Caerphilly, was the result of one of several cable and wiring thefts this year alone. In the Rhymney Valley, they've stepped up patrols, using drones to track suspicious activity.
We cover individual sections of the railway, so the drone unit, myself, we work with the Responder Plus units. We also work with various other units that we have at our disposal, including British Transport Police. We've taken down numerous number plates of people in the area, what we believe to be scoping out. We have the thermal capabilities, the drones can fly in near enough any weather. So that tool that we didn't have up to 2 years ago, it really puts us on a strong footing.
Well, these overhead masts are an increasingly familiar sight over many of the South Wales valleys, helping to power the new fleet of trains. But if they're damaged, the cost of repairing them can be high and the disruption to passengers significant.
We've had a really intense period of vandalism and theft over the last few weeks and months. And every time one of those events happens, we have to go and repair the safety critical systems that allow our trains to move around the network. So that means putting people into harm's way, loads of disruption for passengers. What we've seen is damage to our signalling systems, so the cables that operate those, but also some damage to our overhead lines that are partly constructed. The overhead line, once it's up and installed, it is live. So it's live at 25,000 volts. But even if it's not got the electricity switched on, it's still under enormous tension. So the moment you cut that cable, it recoils back violently. So there's a real danger of physical harm.
This can lead to heavy prison sentences. If people are engaging in that level of disruption and obstruction on the railway, then there are very, very serious criminal offences that they commit by being on the tracks and disrupting rail services. That's more serious. Of course, if they cause a serious incident, a serious collision, then there's even more serious offences that they'll have to face.
Security teams say this highly visible approach is itself a deterrent. The penalties of being caught are severe, the risk of injury or worse, considerable. Mike Griffiths, ITV News in the Rhymney Valley.
It's good to have your company. Still to come on the programme.
And with the weather story continuously ebbing and flowing, what will happen over the next 48 hours? Join me later and I'll let you know.
And Wrexham and Cardiff served us up a cracker last night. Tonight is the turn of Swansea City against Pep Guardiola's star-studded Manchester City.
Before that, parents in Carmarthenshire say they've been left in the dark about the future of their children's schooling. Cardway Primary School near Kidwelly was shut over the summer due to safety concerns, with students temporarily relocated. But it's not yet clear when, if ever, the rural school will reopen, as Lewis Rhys-Jones now reports.
It may be 2 months into the new academic year, but teachers and pupils at Cardway Primary are yet to set foot back in their school. That's because building safety concerns forced it to stay shut. Parents like Claire were told by the council just days before the start of the new term that their children would instead have to attend another primary school a few miles away.
A lot of us parents, we just don't know where we're coming, going, been or gone really. It's very difficult because a lot of the children that didn't have anxieties before are now expressing anxieties because obviously it is a massive change.
Claire's petition for clarity on the school's future has gained over 700 signatures. She says the current arrangement is failing the needs of her daughter, who struggled to adapt at such short notice.
With Charlotte, she has got special needs. You know, she's got ADHD, she's autistic, she has difficulties. Managing the morning for her was never the best before, but it's very much a problem now.
Parents of the local nursery group are equally concerned. with many worrying the Cylch Meithrin might struggle to continue due to a spike in rent costs since relocating to the nearby village hall.
For me, I want my children to have a Welsh education, so I feel strongly that having a Cylch Meithrin, in my locality is essential, really. They've had to move to a location that isn't suitable in the long term to hold a Cylch Meithrin, and it's just the timeline, really. The Cylch Meithrin cannot keep going where they are currently with the high costs, unfortunately.
Well, Carmarthenshire County Council have said in a statement they fully understand how difficult the situation is for both parents and pupils at this school. They say that a decision on the future of the school has not yet been reached and that discussions between the local authority and the school's governing body are ongoing. Any future updates will be communicated through the governing body. Now the families just hope it won't be a long wait for answers. Lewis Rhys-Jones, ITV News, Carway.
It's exactly 6:15. Thanks for watching tonight. There's plenty more still ahead.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News, Jamaica declares a disaster after Hurricane Melissa ravages the island, inflicting widespread destruction and devastation. The sex offender Hadish Kibatu was given £500 to speed up his deportation from the UK, Downing Street confirms. And fans rally to support Sheffield Wednesday amid hopes of a takeover bid after the club goes into administration. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
And we stay with sport now, and in football, Swansea City are preparing to host Pep Guardiola's Manchester City in the next round of the League Cup. They'll be hoping to join their rivals Cardiff in the next round after the Bluebirds beat Wrexham last night. Well, Dean Thomas Welch is at the Swansea.com stadium for us now. Just over an hour until kick-off, Dean.
Yeah, that's right, John. You might hear Blur on the sound system, which has come on for many of the fans, the sellout fans that are going to be here tonight. This game is something of a blur against the Premier League heavyweights of Manchester City. But last night we had a cracker as Wrexham took on Cardiff City. And for the first time, Wrexham would have been favourites in this tie, but it's cup football. And as we can see, anything can happen in the cup.
Joyous Cardiff fans, more than 1,200 travelled over 140 miles on a Tuesday night to witness this Welsh derby, and it was worth it when they took an early lead. Yusuf Salek putting the visitors in front in the 12th minute.
Such a danger, such a poacher.
Across the Kairas, the frustrations of the Wrexham fans could be heard. They demanded changes, and manager Phil Parkinson listened, bringing on Kiefer Moore, who soon made his presence known.
Can he produce a decent cross? Flick towards Kiefer Moore! Instant impact!
Much to the delight of the home fans, Wrexham were back in the game, but it wasn't to be their night.
Comes back to the far post and it's snuck in.
With Will Fish getting his first goal and bagging the catch of the day to claim victory for Cardiff.
Score your first goal for Cardiff City.
And at the final whistle, it was the Bluebirds who'd run rings around the Red Dragons.
Well, disappointment for Wrexham fans, but that 6-hour round trip for Cardiff fans is certainly going to feel better going down tonight.
Great win, played well. They had a spell towards the end of the first half. Obviously, keep more scoring against us. And I think we played really well.
We will always be the biggest team in Wales.
Predicted it 2-1. We are still the Premier League and Premier team in Wales. Simple as that. Never, ever in any doubt.
For the Wrexham fans, a lot to reflect on.
Very poor first half and seemed to be getting back into it, and then Keller goal to close off.
We're a bit disappointed with the score, with it only losing 2-1, but as soon as Kiefer Moore came on the second half, we thought we had much better chance. Of course, he scored our goal.
Does it hurt a little bit more that it's Cardiff that you've lost to?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Bit of a north-south Wales divide there, isn't there?
So the Bluebirds soar in the cup as Wrexham concentrate on the championship. Joanne Gallagher, ITV News, Wrexham.
Dean, a frustrating result for Wrexham last night, to say the least. Swansea now hoping, I suppose, to defy the odds and become the second team in the next round of the Cup.
Yeah, that's right, John. Well, if you remember, Swansea defied the odds in the last round, beating a star-studded Notts Forest side. But Swansea come into this in some pretty inconsistent form in the Championship, while Man City have been starting to pick up results. But many of the fans who are already pouring into the stadium tonight would have been there when Swansea lifted this cup 12 years ago. That will stand as the greatest moment in Swansea City's history, certainly in this cup. But beating Manchester City tonight will be up there as a close second. Now, Pep Guardiola's star-studded Manchester City come to the Swansea.com arena, although you can expect some of those star players to be rested tonight. The likes of striker Erling Haaland probably won't be seen from the start here, but Swansea, you'd expect them to put a full-strength side out, a real opportunity to go and get a scalp in this cup and make the headlines this evening.
Dean Thomas Welch, watch out for those sprinklers behind you. Thanks very much indeed. Now, if you fancy getting your hands on some TV heirlooms with a bit of history, you might be in luck. Thrones that featured in ITV's I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, as well as a sofa and a bed frame, are just some of the items that are up for auction. It's all to raise money for Grych Castle in Abergele, which played host to the show during the pandemic, of course. We sent Rob Sheddy along to see what's up for offer.
You know, at some point in life, anything that happens to you is just another layer of history. Well, 5 years ago, in a much more locked-down world, Grych Castle here added another layer of history when it became home to I'm a Celebrity. But after 2 seasons, that was it. No more Ant, no more Deck, no more celebrities. Hello, Cledwyn? Anyone? No? A mostly empty set. But not everything went. And here's ones we left earlier. So this is all I'm a Celebrity stuff.
It is.
Wow.
We've got some really cool thrones and interesting furniture. It all adds to the haunted aesthetic of the castle.
I like haunted aesthetic. How do you value an I'm a Celeb throne?
Well, I think what happens is we put it on eBay and see what happens.
The market will decide. How much did we leave?
There is a whole shipping container full of stuff that I haven't even had a chance to have a look at yet.
It is all in an incredibly good cause. The money raised will help to re-roof and re-floor one of Wales's biggest castles. You need to shift a lot of thrones to put roof tiles on this lot. Here's the I'm a Celebrity shower.
Yeah, my favourite item that's been left behind.
Did we leave a celebrity or what?
No, this is Grandma, and she's being used for our Halloween experience that's coming up.
By the way, let me introduce you to Grandma.
Do you hear that sound? That's the grinding of my bones.
She's lovely, really. Sadly, at the moment, neither she nor the spider are up for sale. It's their busy time of year. Although you do wonder what on earth else there might be lying around. I'm staying mostly hidden just in case someone labels me as an ITV asset and puts me down as a buy it now. But it's got so many layers of history, and now I'm a Celebrity is another layer.
It's definitely part of the history now, and even though we are selling a lot of the things that are left behind, we are going to keep some things so that we can add to the history of the castle.
By the way, if you fancy bidding on anything, don't forget, caveat emptor, buyer beware. I don't know if your sofa is comfortable, but this needs a spring or two. Rob Shelley, ITV News, Abergele.
Well, I think I might make a bid on Grandma. Now, weather time. Here's Des Coleman.
Midday Mayan temples, followed by sunny afternoons on the sand. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Hi, great to see you. Do you know something? Waking up this morning, we certainly saw some grey and damp conditions. Fortunately, though, we did see the sky starting to clear. This is that weather front that slowly moved down towards the south, and a good part of the day ended up being generally dry. So as we do push forward into the overnight story, what we'll see is we'll see a weak ridge of high pressure slowly starting to build in. It's not going to last for too long, but with high pressure, the air's falling, pushing everything out of the way, calming things down. So clear skies, certainly, once we get to the the back end of tonight. A couple of isolated showers to get rid of first of all. But when we see those clear skies, naturally at this stage in the year, temperatures really start to fall. So we could wake up tomorrow morning to some patchy frost. So a dry start tomorrow, a chilly start tomorrow, but what we'll enjoy is a nice bright start. Make the most of it. Doesn't last for too long. We've got this system, heavy bank of rain moving towards Northern Ireland. We will see the offshoot of that, some isolated showers over the course of the day. So it ends up being fairly cloudy. You'll notice the winds really start to pick up over the course of tomorrow, gale force, especially if you live towards the coast. Having said that, the winds are coming up from the south. The temperatures range between 50 degrees Fahrenheit and 13 degrees. You're looking at around 56 degrees Fahrenheit. The next time we look at a band of rain that's fairly heavy is on Friday. Really going to be a fairly damp day. Squeeze on the isobars, gale force winds at times. Temperatures though, because those winds are coming up in the south, maxing out at 16 degrees, 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Any showers that you see on Friday will be fairly blustery. Enjoy.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Enjoy. Well, we'll do our best. That's it. Caddy Edwards will be back with a late update. That's after the ITV news at 10. Until then, from all of us on the programme, thanks for watching, and we'll do it all again tomorrow at 6. Bye-bye.